First divers of the competition, round 1, Milan and Marcel.
Try both of you to stretch the hips. Don't push your feet out, but stretch the hips and point the feet. Yeah? Good.
Execution 1, 2.5, 3.5, 5. Synchro 3.5, 2.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. André en Casper. Execution, all judges 8, Synchro 9, 9, 8.5, 8.5, 8.5. Jannica en Dorota. Execution 7, 7, 5, 5.5. Synchro, all judges 6.5. Lara en Savannah. Execution 6, 5.5, 6, 6.5. Synchro 6, 6, 6, 6.5, 7. Aiden en Lieke. Execution 5, 5, 3, 2.5. Synchro 4.5, 4.5, 4, 3, 5. Everly and Sarah. Execution 5, 6.5, 5, 5.5. Synchro 5.5, 5, 5, 5.5, 5. Round 2, Milan and Marcel. Execution 5.5, 5.5, 4.5, 5.5. Synchro 6, 6, 5, 5.5, 6. André en Casper. Execution 6.5, 7, 8, 8. Synchro 8, 8, 8, 7.5, 7.5. Jannica en Dorota. Execution 5.5, 6.5, 5, 5.5. Synchro 5.5, 6, 5.5, 6, 6. Lara en Savannah. Execution 5.5, 5.5, 4.5, 4.5. Synchro 6, 6.5, 6, 5.5, 6. Aiden en Lieke. Execution 5.5, 5, 4.5, 5. Synchro 5, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 6. Everly and Sarah. Execution 7, 7.5, 6, 6. Synchro 7, 7, 8, 7.5, 7. Round 3, Milan and Marcel. Execution 6, 5, 4, 3.5. Synchro 4, 4, 4, 3, 4. André en Kasper. Execution, all judges 7.5, Synchro 8.5, 8, 8, 8, 7.5. Jannica en Dorota. Execution 5, 4.5, 5.5, 5, Synchro 5.5, 6, 6, 6, 6. Lara en Savannah. Execution 1, 2, 4.5, 4.5, Synchro 3, 4, 4.5, 5, 6. Aiden en Lieke. Execution 5.5, 6, 5, 5, Synchro 6, 6, 6.5, 6.5, 6. Evelyn and Sarah. Execution 5.5, 5, 4, 4, Synchro 5.5, 5.5, 6.5, 5.5, 6. Round 4, Milan and Marcel. Execution 5.5, 4.5, 3, 3.5. Synchro 4.5, 5, 4.5, 3, 5. André en Casper. Execution 7, 8, 7.5, 8. Synchro 8, 8.5, 8.5, 8.5, 8. Jannica en Dorota. Execution 5.5, 5.5, 5, 5.5. Synchro 5.5, 6, 6.5, 6.5, 6. Lara en Savannah. Execution, all judges 4.5. Synchro 5, 5.5, 5.5, 4.5, 4.5. Aiden en Nieke. Execution 6, 5.5, 5, 5. Synchro 6, 6, 6.5, 5.5, 6. Everly and Sarah. Execution 6, 6.5, 4.5, 4.5. Synchro 6, 6, 6.5, 6, 6. Round 5. Milan en Marcel. Execution 6, 5.5, 4, 4.5. Synchro 5, 4.5, 5.5, 4.5, 4.5. André en Casper. Execution, 7.5, 7.5, 7, 7.5. Synchro, 8.5, 7.5, 8, 7, 8. Jannica en Dorota. Execution, 6, 5.5, 3.5, 3.5. Synchro, 5, 5.5, 5.5, 5, 5.5. Lara en Savannah. Execution, 6, 5, 6, 6.5. Synchro, 5, 5.5, 5.5, 5, 6. Aiden en Lieke. Execution, 5.5, 6, 5.5, 5.5. Synchro, 6.5, 6, 6.5, 6, 6.5. Evelyn and Sarah. Execution, 6.5, 7.5, 6.5, 6. Synchro, 7, 7, 6.5, 6.5, 7. Round 6, Milan and Marcel. Execution, 5.5, 4.5, half, 1.5. Synchro, 3.5, 4, 3.5, half, 2. André en Casper. Execution, 7, 6.5, 8, 7.5. Synchro, 7, 7.5, 7.5, 7, 7. This was the last dive of this competition, of the whole diving cup. Thank you, judges. Thank you, secretary. The ceremony will take as soon as possible.